It's time now for another broadcast of The Young Musician. These programs explore new ideas and concepts in music education, introduce new works into the repertoire, and offer fresh insights into established compositions. Our host for the series is Shahan Adzrouni, pianist, composer, and music educator. Mr. Adzrouni.
My guest today is the pianist and musical scholar Joseph Bloch, faculty member of the Juilliard School. You know, I was your student about 5 years ago.
Oh, I remember very well. You were an outstanding student.
Well, thank you. But I always wondered at that time why we had to analyze pieces. I know that there is certain importance to it, but somehow I felt that there was a special emphasis.
Well, remember, these were classes in piano literature, where the purpose of the course is to find out everything you can about the piece of music. It's not like a piano lesson where you're concerned with the immediate pianistic problems, but with the things about the music itself. And a formal analysis, structural analysis, harmonic analysis are just some of the many aspects about a piece of music. I think also the historical aspects are important, and everything that you can find out about a piece of music, I think, helps your performance.
Specific pieces would dictate specific approaches?
Yes, I think a piece of music that is harmonically simple doesn't require a detailed harmonic analysis. These things fall into place naturally.
Something like a Chopin prelude, maybe?
Well, of course, let's take an example, for instance, from Schumann's Scenes from Childhood. Now, the very first piece of Foreign Lands and People it's a very simple piece,
yes.
And even harmonically it does not modulate. Its chordal material is simple. Yeah. But let me just illustrate.
Okay.
Now, just that opening phrase, there is one chord in this very simple context, the second chord, which is a diminished seventh, which comes in surprisingly early. Yes. Now, a diminished seventh chord by itself is nothing terribly exciting in this period. But in this particular phrase, coming as it does so early, right after the tonic chord, it's a special, sensitive, colorful spot. I think an instinctively musical performer would feel this, but this is what makes that phrase so poignant, so particularly important. But I think it's partly tied up with the title of the piece, of Foreign Lands and People. It's the word foreign. It's an exotic foreign quality in a very simple, childlike way, in a very modest way, but here, the awareness of the importance of that chord, I think, determines the phrase.
But there is a tie between the set, the pieces of the set.
That's a different aspect entirely. Yes, Scenes from Childhood is not just a simple set of 13 pieces sort of strung loosely together, but they're tied together by musical elements. Some of this does affect your performance. Some of it is perhaps just of intellectual interest, but knowing how the creator worked, why he put those particular pieces together.
Right. And Schumann, I think, was a master in doing that whole thing.
And he's much unappreciated as a musical architect.
Yes,
He's much more complicated.
Also, I think the architecture in music in the 19th century is much different from the architecture of the classical period.
Definitely.
In that the harmony, I think, serves a much more important role in the 19th century than it does in the classical period.
No, it's a different kind of harmony. I would disagree with you completely.
You would.
It's the nature of the harmony is different. The 18th century is filled of complex uses of the prevalent forms at that time. The 19th century extends these forms. There are roots for the 19th century structures in the 18th century. And all of this is terribly important to appreciate. You can appreciate why a Chopin ballade, for example, is such a wonderful advance in formal ideas. The Chopin ballades are related to earlier types of forms, such as sonata or variation, but they carry it one step further.
But that's a very superficial aspect, isn't it? The fact that the Chopin ballade might be a sonata allegro form, let's say, is secondary to its harmonic structure.
I wouldn't say that either. I think it's second. In that case, it's not so urgent that the performer know or try to project this. I think it's of interest. It makes you perhaps appreciate the sophistication of a Chopin ballade.
Fine. I think we should play something so we can be all right, friends again.
Forehand music will make us friends.
Yeah. We have a few pieces from Schumann we would like to play. And the first one is...
Well, I might add, this is a little-known set of Schumann's forehand music. Actually, Schumann, these later pieces of Schumann, and all the forehand music of Schumann is later music, with one exception. A pre-Opus 1 work, 6 polonaises, which is hard to get. But for some reason or other, these late Schumann pieces are overlooked, even among pianists who play four-hand music. We expect
Yes.
Mozart and Schubert; those are
Yes,
kind of the standard
yes.
works, and Brahms. And there's some wonderful pieces in these late Schumann duets. This particular set from 1849, it was 12 pieces written, as he says, for big and little children. And the story goes that he used to play these. He wrote them to play with his children, his daughters, who were piano students at the time, and he was very unkind to them. He would yell at them if they didn't do things correctly. He was not the kind papa.
How old was he when he composed this, actually?
Well, let's see, 1849, he'd be 39 years old, and this was late in his life because he died when he was 46.
Yes.
And the first one of this set of 12 is called a birthday march.
Okay.
Let's play another one that gets a little more complex.
Okay.
Here's one called a Garden Melody. That should make us friends again. I see a piece like that as so much richer in counterpoint and harmonic interest than the first one.
Yeah, yeah. There is another aspect that I would like to ask you. And I've been bothered by this, and I know a lot of other people who have been bothered by this. This is a totally different question now. And this question has something to do with the use of instruments in early music. Of course, every piano student studies Bach. The student can use the piano as a vehicle for expressing or learning or whatever the music of Bach. What is your opinion on that?
Well, that's the unanswerable question, because that's entirely a matter of your training and your taste. Bach's music, keyboard music, was conceived for the keyboard of his time. That's not as simple as it sounds, because there were three types of keyboard instruments.
Yes.
There was the organ, which was Bach's first love as a keyboard instrument, the harpsichord with its plucked sound, and the clavichord with its very gentle touch sound.
Yeah.
You can find examples in Bach of keyboard music written more specifically for one or the other. Some of the slow fugues in the Well-Tempered Clavier are more organ-like. The very brilliant pieces are harpsichord-like, and the very small-scale sensitive pieces, like the first prelude of the Well-Tempered Clavier, is probably a clavichord piece. But it was, and apparently common practice in Bach's time, to play any of these on any instrument that happened to be lying around the house.
Since you brought the Well-Tempered Clavier, that whole set is written for clavichord, isn't it?
No. Well, this again is a question that cannot be answered, but the style of the pieces varies from organ to harpsichord to clavichord, and it's quite possible that Bach, after all, he had an organ close by. He lived near the churches where he was playing the organ, and in his own household he had many keyboard instruments, several harpsichords and several clavichords. So it's quite possible he played whichever one he felt like playing on that particular day, or whichever one was available.
I see. In other words, according
but
to
definitely that translation of the Well-Tempered Clavier as Well-Tempered Clavichord is a complete misnomer.
It is. Then, according to the character of the piece, you can choose your instrument.
Right, and when you're playing on the piano, again, this business of knowing about the piece. It's good perhaps to know that a piece is more specifically harpsichord-like. You will perhaps use a different kind of ornamentation and touch dynamic than you would if you were trying to play it as a clavichord piece. I have here, as long as you brought this up, an interesting piece, since we're talking about duets and old instruments and everything else. It perhaps is not so well known that this duet practice, two performers at one keyboard, goes way back in the history of keyboard music. There's some very early examples from around 1600 from the English virginal music, the time of Queen Elizabeth. There are two pieces that have been uncovered for two performers at one keyboard. There's another one for two keyboards, a piece by Giles Farnaby for two virginals.
Just one question, quick question. What is a virginal?
It's a harpsichord type of instrument.
What is the difference then?
Between what and what?
Virginal
that was
and
just
harpsichord.
the name. Every country had its own pet names for these harpsichord types of instruments. In England, they were known as the spinet or the virginals.
I see.
And in France, they were known as the épinette or the clavecin.
Did virginal have two keyboards like harpsichord?
No, that comes much later.
That comes
The
much
virginals, there were different sizes, but they did not have two keyboards. Though, as long as you brought it up, there are some examples that I've seen in museums of two keyboards built side by side, not one above the other, as on a harpsichord or on an organ,
So what happens?
So that two performers could play these pieces simultaneously. That's a very... Actually, they probably played works for strings, just as we will sometimes reduce string quartets or orchestral scores. But no, it was a very simple, rather colorless kind of harpsichord. It didn't have the pedals or the hand stops, but the mechanism was that of the plucked sound.
I see.
And that's why it's related to
Then you can
harpsichord.
actually change the color.
No. But remember,
just
this
pressure and all
that's
that.
right.
That's the whole thing.
and a matter of timing.
Yeah. That's so important actually in Baroque music, isn't it?
Yes.
Just the phrasing.
This is a piece called A Fancy for Two to Play by Thomas Tompkins. The word fancy comes from the Italian fantasy, which was a contrapuntal piece, an imitative piece, a sort of forerunner of the fugue. You'll notice at the beginning how one voice starts off with the idea, and then it's imitated by the other voice. So this is a very elaborate contrapuntal piece.
And this is 1600, you said?
Around 1600, yes. Well, we're marvelous. I don't know if the audience realizes how hard something like this is because the barring is very irregular. Because the purpose of the bar line that time was quite different from in our time. It functioned as a phrase mark. So it didn't just set off the meter.
Yeah. When did that start actually? The regular pulse.
It starts about this time, and of course when you have dance pieces with a regular pulse, then of course you have regular barring.
But that starts much earlier.
Well, yes, it actually can.
Yeah.
Though remember, there isn't a great deal of keyboard music before this time. The English virginal period was the first flowering of string keyboard music.
Yeah. It certainly is very interesting music. The problem of ornamentation is something that...
But you remember that from your piano literature course.
I do remember, but I find that you have to really be familiar with the music to feel what kind of ornamentation to use.
And in that time, they never did the ornaments the same twice.
Yeah,
it was improvised at the moment
you can't
by the
study
performer.
No,
you have to get the idea of ornamentation, and then you just apply it.
Yeah.
You did a beautiful job, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Do we have time to play some more Schumann?
I think so. That would be lovely.
Well, we're still from the set of Opus 85, the 12 pieces for big and little children. Yeah. This is one certainly for big children. We're getting toward the end of the set, and this is a real virtuoso piece by the Fountain.
And to finish our program, we have Abendlied.
Yes, the evening song, which is the last piece of the Opus 85 of Schumann.
Your
I'm in
performance.
tears.
Thank you. And I really enjoyed very much.
Well, so did I.
It was a great honor.
It's always
for me.
good to see you under any circumstances.
Thank you. And I hope you come back sometime.
Thank
and,
you.
We can do some more for
Be delighted. Great.
Thank you so much. This is Shahan Arzruni. So long till next week when I will discuss the lyric pieces of Grieg.
We welcome your comments and suggestions. Write to the Young Musician, WNYC FM, New York, New York, 10007. And join us again next Monday evening at 8:30 for another broadcast of The Young Musician.